Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Liam and I'm going to show you how Hench Herbivore is causing tinnitus. Now, the main reason I'm doing this is not to bag any sort of person out, but rather their ideas. The real point of this, obviously, this is the Tinnitus YouTube channel, and there's just so many people coming to me with tinnitus who get it from recently going vegan. That's 3 months, 2 months, 4 months, that sort of thing, and they get all these symptoms and then they get tinnitus, and then when they get rid of the vegan diet, then their tinnitus goes away very, very easily and effectively. And people don't realize the pernicious poisons that exist in plants. It's starting to come to light a bit more, but people still think that veganism is the way to go. Now, for short term, absolutely, there are absolutely some benefits, and I do even suggest to some people to do it short term, but Hench Herbivore has really got it wrong, and Hench Herbivore is definitely causing tinnitus in people who come to me and say they followed him and now they wish they didn't. So I'm just going to break down, this is a recent video that he gets interviewed in, and let's just go through it. Okay.
There's much more nutrition in plant foods than animal products, actually.
Okay, so let's go through that first thing quickly.
There's much more nutrition in plant foods than animal products, actually.
Oh. So he's gone on first and said there's much more nutrition in plant foods than there are in animal products. Which specific, what nutrient? What about the missing amino acids that you can barely get in plants at all? What about B12? What about creatine? What about taurine? Okay, that's ridiculous. Already, this can be the end of the video here. If you want to fix tinnitus, you have to fix your brain. You have to fix the liver. You have to fix the lymphatic system. You have to fix all sorts of things. You have to fix the fascia. Okay. And this is just, you're gonna shrink your brain, you're gonna cause problems. You need animal fat in your diet in order to fix the brain. Okay, bone marrow, animal fat, protein, you need to build. Okay, we can't process protein from plants, at least almost none of it. This is just terrible. That's basically a lie, in my opinion. It's just not true at all. Let's keep going.
Vegetables are 16 times more nutritionally dense than meat.
Fuck. Okay, vegetables are 16 times more nutritionally dense than meat. And how many of that is actually available? Do we have the microbiome that cows have? No, we can't break down this stuff. It looks like here he's taking a shit in public.
16 times more nutritionally dense than meat.
Nope, they're not.
Do you necessarily need meat to build muscle, or can you get by on a plant-based diet?
No.
To find out, today I've come to Norwich to meet a man called Paul Curtin. He trains out
so
Phoenix
Hench
Gym.
Herbivore's name is Paul.
He's better known by the moniker Hench Herbivore.
Yep.
He's one of the biggest names in vegan bodybuilding.
Okay, so there is no such thing as vegan bodybuilding. You cannot do it. It is impossible. It is impossible to build that much muscle by eating just plants. This bloke here, he built his body on steroids. He admitted himself, I'm not just making this up, he built his body on steroids and meat. He even talks about in other videos how much meat he used to eat. It's crazy. He used to take 30 times the recommended daily dosage of testosterone replacement therapy. It's just ridiculous. And then he's going around telling people to do this and they're going to get injured or give themselves tinnitus. Okay? Very common. Why do you think tinnitus is such an epidemic today? Because people get their education from YouTube influencers like this who don't know what they're talking about.
And then on a training session with him and his client Jeremy, and then we'll be going for a vegan bodybuilding meal.
There's no such thing as a vegan bodybuilding meal, okay? Vegan bodybuilders are people who take steroids and eat plants at the same time. That's it.
Later, I'll be looking into the science with Professor Matt Cole, a leading sports nutritionist at Birmingham City University.
From a research point of view, there is some evidence that it might decrease your prevalence of cardiovascular disease risk factors, or it might help you lose some weight, but
no, that's not true at all. It's not. It's associative. There's no studies that prove anything that even prove veganism is good for you at all, okay, in the long term. Veganism is good for all stages of life. Yes, temporarily in those stages, sure, it can be fine, but it's not going to get you to the next stage of life because you're going to fucking get so sick.
it isn't really cause and effect. A lot of it might just be correlation also.
There you go. It's not correlation, it's associative, it's epidemiology, it's opinion, it's not cause and effect. Let me break this down exactly what the difference is between associative and cause and effect. So epidemiology and randomized control test, okay, proper observation, getting rid of the confounders, okay? So for example, let's look at association. So if I bring a new friend into my home, let's say I bring an exchange student into my home, and I think I've used this analogy before. bring an exchange student into my home, and then over the next 2 weeks, my belongings start going missing. Maybe my camera goes missing, my jewelry, some money out of my wallet. Now, we can associate using the powers of deduction that there's a new person in my home and things have started to go missing. Maybe that person is stealing them. But I haven't proved it. That's association. It's likely, but it wouldn't stand up in science, wouldn't stand up in a court of law. There's no proof. But if I put a hidden camera somewhere and I catch him or her in the act, then that's causal. But even then, if they steal something, it doesn't mean they stole everything else. You got to be really nitpicky in science. And vegans will read the abstract of a study and they'll listen to people like Joel Kahn just talk about like, oh, I got this study here. Let me just show you a little bit of it. And when you look at the data and you do the maths and, it's as long as it's not extrapolated, which can be bullshit sometimes, then they just go, oh, well, veganism must be good. I've literally heard people talk about Game Changers having science. That is fucking comedic genius to say the Game Changers documentary has science. Get fucked. There's no science in there. All those athletes are failures, or they are now failures. All the athletes are NFL players and basketball players who are going vegan are now losing their careers. They're getting kicked off their teams. The Australian runner and that. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. And if anyone thinks that veganism is good for you, well, you probably have tinnitus. It's just... There's no science at all.
And so you've found that adopting a plant-based diet then has actually benefited like not only your health but your kind of bodybuilding.
Yeah, like energy, recovery, motivation.
No.
Yes.
You keep talking in your videos, mate, about how you got gut problems and how your recovery is terrible. I can go to the gym, do the same intense workout as this guy, I guarantee you, and I'll just eat 20 raw eggs in that day and I won't be sore at all the next day. Not even a problem. I go to the gym twice, 2 1-hour sets, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and I can do legs both times or upper body both times. Not a problem. This is just a joke.
It's been huge. The difficulty is on a bulk. If you want to eat healthily, you're eating whole foods. It's a little hard. You need to eat quite a lot of volume.
Yeah, because you can't get protein from plants. Fuck. Shouldn't that be the indication right there? You can't build muscle. You can't build cells. In Tinnitus, we're talking about building cells, okay? We want to build the cells in our body. You can't do that on plants. It's ridiculous.
On a cut, it's like a cheat code and the weight just
Yeah, because when you go vegan, you can become fucking anorexic.
falls off, yeah? And you get to eat so much volume, so very sustainable. Vegetables are 16 times more nutritionally dense than meat. 16 times. In terms of antioxidants, 60.
Oh, fuck off. No, they're not. Prove it. What exact minerals, what nutrients are trace elements? Explain it to me, please. Explain what's so good about goitrogens. Explain what's so good about oxalates. Explain what's so good about sulforaphane. Explain what's good about lectins. Explain what's good about sodium salicylates. Please tell me first of all what those fucking things are, and then we can have a discussion about the beauty and the wonder and the amazingness of plants. Please go on.
64 times.
No, that's not true either. They're encapsulated in anti-nutrients. They're there to protect the plants, not to protect you. You can get antioxidants from grounding. That's a great way to do it. That's going to neutralize the free oxidated species that come from apoptosis and strip the electrons from their remaining cells. You can get it from vitamin E, so you can get it from fish. Here's where does he say he gets
16 times. In terms of antioxidants, 64 times.
Oh, fuck off.
There's much more nutrition in plant foods than animal products.
This is just a joke. This is just an absolute joke. It's dangerous to follow that advice. It's not smart. It's not safe. It's not a good idea. And people have got this thing, which I kind of agree with, which is, doctors can't help us. And I do agree with that to an extent. There are, because I don't learn about nutrition. But then, this is like the same realm with people who think that essential oils can cure diabetes. That's what veganism is to me. Fuck.
Accidentally getting into veganism, looking for recipes and things, going on different sites, accidentally I saw what animals go through to end up on our plates, and I was horrified that I was, part of that. I added to it. So I'm vegan first for my health. I've seen...
Okay, so this is a common thing that people say, I'm vegan for, ethical reasons and I don't want to harm the animals. And that's fine, that's an okay reason, but let's explain why it actually makes more sense for you to eat meat. So where do people get their ethical whole thing from? So if you walk down Burke Street here in Melbourne, Australia, you're going to see a bunch of teenagers who are basically anorexic, holding screens showing like cows getting their nose cut off while they're still alive, getting ripped open while they're still alive, prawns getting their legs ripped off, and really horrendous stuff that, frankly, I think we can all agree that's pretty sick. So if you want to eat sustainably farmed meat where the cows, you know, Daisy's running all over the field and frolicking and they're all mating and they're pooing and the grass is thriving because of the cows and the livestock, and then, you know, take Daisy behind the shed, shoot her in the face, she's dead, cut her up, serve her to the family, happy days, she'll serve, you know, a couple of people for at least 4 months if you eat a head, nose to tail. That's one cow dead. That's it in the whole process. One animal died. Now let's talk about vegan bodybuilding and just veganism in general. If you want to eat soy, if you want to eat quinoa, so quinoa is one of the only sources of complete protein, which has all the amino acids that you need, the 8 to 9 essential amino acids, however you want to angle that debate. There's 22 amino acids, but 9 are essential that we need to get from our food. But the thing is, those amino acids aren't readily available in quinoa because of the fact that it's encapsulated with anti-nutrients. Now, those fields, okay, even rice paddies and quinoa and soy, whatever it is, animals, the local animals are going to be trying to eat that food because there are herbivores and omnivorous animals that live around those areas. So they're going to be poisoned, they're going to be shot, they're going to be blended up in the combines, they're going to be shot with a crossbow, they're going to die in pretty horrendous ways. Okay, because the farmers want to keep their crop alive. So if you choose to be a vegan and you choose to eat the greens, you're doing worse things to the environment as well, because you're getting all your food flown around the world on jets and road trains and et cetera, et cetera. Well, meat eaters do use road trains too, but the jumbo jets and, you know, internationally, even in order to get your complete protein source, you need a variety of fruits. Vegetables, nuts and fruits and legumes. However, if you're eating meat, you can just eat muscle meat and it has every single thing that you need for life. You can have beef, steak for the rest of your life, and many people are doing this. I prefer to have liver as well, steak, some seafood. You might need to supplement with iodine, which I do, but you can just eat brain, iodine, selenium. Eating brain is your choice. You can do it or not do it, but obviously I'm talking about pig's brain here, or you can just have iodine and selenium. So the bottom line is there's no ethical reason behind going veganism. That's ridiculous. You're killing more animals. Farmers talk about it all the time. Which animals? Kangaroos, foals, mice, rabbits, deer, pretty large animals that just get slaughtered every day. They're killed every day. And there's even fake crops that farmers put out in Australia, and they will poison those crops, and the animals will eat it and die over about 20 to 48 hours. They will find them and shoot them. So this whole vegan for ethics reason is ridiculous, but I can agree that factory farming is horrendous. I don't support it, and I think it's pretty sick. But shooting Daisy in the face after a couple of years of good living that's fine by me. Something's got to die. It's not going to be me.
Seeing what we do to animals, and I was complicit. I ate more animals than anyone, so I feel like I owe it to them.
Hold on, I missed that.
To animals, and I was complicit. I ate more animals than anyone, so I feel like
that's how you built your body, mate, on meat.
I owe it to them to now be an advocate and speak up. Oh, I'm getting totes too much. We'll have to change the subject.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Here we go. Big legs. Come on, earn them. 4 times right. Right. Come on. Don't let Jeremy beat you. 1, 3. Strong man. Yep. 4. Good. Yep. 5. Any more? Look at this. Power. Do you know what? I want more. I want more asbestos. Let's put one more on. Out! Out! Ah! Plant-based gains!
What's the growling? No such thing as plant-based gains. Doesn't exist.
As long as you're getting the range of different whole plant foods, you're going to get
hell.
all the nutrients. As long as you're eating a calorically adequate diet. So I suppose protein-wise...
Oh, please tell me about the protein.
Number 1. Quinoa for a grain, actually a pseudo grain.
There we go. So that's what we were talking about before, how quinoa is supposedly one of the only complete forms of protein in terms of the amino acids. But it's still not even complete because the absorbability is ridiculous. You need to eat so much of it. And even then, there's such a downside. Just as you were saying before, you want to bulk, you've got to eat lots of it. He admits to taking steroids, and he definitely still does because he's fucking huge. Common sense.
I feel a lot fuller in the muscles and a lot more energy by going high carb. Even on a cut, I'm having 300 grams of
Let's go high carb. That's a really good idea, yeah.
carbs a day. Yeah.
I think the next step is to get stuck in and try something.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I am starving. Just by sticking to the whole foods, like I say, you can get a great physique. You can really optimize your performance.
At least cut the fucking skin and de-seed the tomatoes for the lectins. Like, that's ridiculous.
and you can prevent the leading causes of disease. Nutritionfacts.org say that 14 of the 50...
Fuck! Nutritionfacts.org. Okay, the guy who extrapolates data falsely. This is Dr. Michael Greger, who literally just lies and just falsifies information. It's just it's just a joke. Okay, and who recently was being interviewed on London Real, and when asked about the carnivore diet, couldn't even answer the question. He can't even talk. He's shrinking as a man. He's so small because he's not getting any protein, and he recommends taking a handful of supplements a day. That's what always gets me about this diet, is that you have to supplement with other foods. Ethically doing it, and vegans are realizing this now, that they say, oh, it's not about, people are changing, like, oh, you don't understand what veganism is about. It's not about being healthier. They say this. It's not about being healthier. Oh, yeah, I fucking know that. It's about helping the animals. Well, mate, you are killing more animals in your topsoil erosion. You're hurting more animals in a worse way, okay, by being a vegan. All these, I wonder what the death count is on this plate. If you look at the death count of a steak, it's fucking 1. That's it. It's 1 cow died. Look at the death count on about 50 plates of steak. It's 1. It's still 1. All this, I would say, wouldn't be surprised. Let's say 50 animals died for the crop of this. Seriously, 50 animals would have fucking died. Mice, rats, kangaroos, wallabies, just fucking brutally shot, and then blended up and fed back to the plants. Because guess what? Plants get the nutrients from meat as well. Bury a dead dog under a tree, dig it up. The roots are going to be going through the dog. Okay, and eating it. That's fucking life. That's how it works. Ridiculous.
15 leading causes of death in the West are preventable with this nutrition. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn in America did a case series, over 200 patients. In 99.6% of cases, he reversed heart disease with nutrition alone. He's got photographic angiogram.
Okay, so reversing is quite the word, isn't it? So was it reversing, or was it the diet that did it, or were the people eating terrible diets before, and then it wasn't that you were reversing it, heart disease, is that you were pulling out the things from their diet and their habits that were causing the heart disease in the first place. So you could say, reversing is a strong word, but it might be better to say that the causes of heart disease were found and removed from their diet. For example, high carbohydrate, for example, high fructose corn syrup, for example, fast food, for example, alcohol, smoking, late nights, lack of exercise, stuff like that. Where's the data? How well were they? What medications were they on? What's their previous medical history? I mean, what's all this information? Where are they now? Obviously, fair enough. It's just an interview, and maybe he did speak about it, but maybe it's linked below. Hold on. No, it's not linked below. But that's fine. This is it's not a proper nutrition channel. That's fine, but I'd still like to know that information.
Evidence of the blood vessels opening up again, so we can reverse the #1 killer. So we found out from correlation...
Yeah, see, I don't think it's a reversal. I think you're just removing the bad stuff from the diet, which is why people say, oh, Liam, you were wrong about veganism and tinnitus because I went vegan and my tinnitus got better. Okay, what were you eating before? Also, veganism is a fasting diet. You're not absorbing shit. And what do I say is really good for tinnitus and is good for tinnitus? Fasting. So you're not... It's not that there's so much... What is it? 64 times the nutrients in vegetables and meat? Ridiculous. Show me the proof of that. Ridiculous. You're fasting, you're not absorbing anything, and you're probably cutting out the bad foods too, like the McDonald's and the alcohol and the French fries and everything like that. That's what's doing it. If you want to be really successful, bring in the meat. Bring in the high quality grass-fed, grass-finished red meat, which helps regulate your hormones, and lose fat. Body fat acts as an endocrine gland and can increase estrogen. Especially if you're a man, low testosterone is responsible for many, many conditions and problems, such as lack of sleep. And if you're not sleeping properly, tinnitus can get worse, become exacerbated, and it can prevent it from going away.
Oh, people in China, in these villages where they're not eating much animal products, they don't have heart disease. But now people are putting it into practice, and we're seeing the real world.
Association is not proof. It's not causal.
Results, and I've seen it in my clients as well.
I think the most compelling argument at the moment, though, is
he doesn't look very happy, the guy on the right.
Yeah, can I eat some more of it?
I mean, what's with the growling? Why are you doing that? Is it your slogan or something?
Compelling argument at the moment, though, is how good this food tastes.
Yeah, can I eat some more of it?
I don't know.
Lovely looking lad you got here. Please.
This guy seemed like he was actually pretty good before, so.
State-of-the-art stuff. So kind of what's the purpose of this place?
So this is our human physiology laboratory here at BCU. So this is where we undertake a lot of performance or health-related assessments on different athletes.
Would you say a vegan or vegetarian diet is necessarily healthier for you?
I don't necessarily think it's healthier. From
Fucking good, off to a good start there.
a research point of view, there is some evidence that it might decrease your prevalence of cardiovascular disease risk factors, or it might help you lose some weight, but it isn't really cause and effect. A lot of it might just be correlational. So
There's no proof. There's no proof. It's association. Same as a metaphor with the person coming in and jewelry going missing. There's no proof. Sure, you can use a bit of common sense, but you know, common sense it's not science. And especially when you're talking about tinnitus, it's, you know, we want to be specific, guys.
we know a lot of vegetables are lower in calories than meat and dairy products are. So clearly it's probably just an effect of you're consuming less calories.
There you fucking go. Exactly what I was saying. Fasting. It's just fasting. Just do a fast. Don't eat. The vegetables have a downside and an upside. Why expose yourself to that? Just do a fast.
Anything specifically that you're looking for when you're working with a vegan or vegetarian athlete, for instance?
Yeah, fucking mental retardation.
Any markers that you pay particular attention to?
We might look at things like red blood cell count or iron in the blood to look at whether someone's actually getting the...
Yeah, well, how are you going to get iron? It's not going to be it's not going to be heme iron. It's not going to be heme iron. How are you going to get the proper form of iron that you need? It's like there's ads on TV. It's like, are you a middle-aged woman who is low in iron? Because women have their periods, so they lose iron in larger amounts than men every month. And, you know, they go, have some more spinach. It's like, are you fucking serious? It's not even the right type of iron for human beings. Fuck.
in the right amount of iron in their diet. You can still get a complement from plant-based sources, but it's just a little bit more challenging than it is from animals. So that would be the...
There you go. Then what's the point? There's no ethical reason to not eat animals, as I just said, so just eat the fucking steak.
First one we'd look at. The second one would be overall protein intake. So again, for the same reason that animal products and dairy products are very high in protein in general compared to plant-based sources. And they tend to have a much better amino acid density, so there's much higher quality amino acids. So
there you go.
It doesn't mean it's impossible on a vegan diet, you just have to eat a wider variety of vegan sources to get the...
Yeah, and you would have seen how much food Hench Herbivore what Paul was eating before. It was 2 massive bowls. That's ridiculous. I just go to a cafe in the morning and say, hey, I'll just get 4 poached eggs and 4 rashers of bacon, please, and I'm fucking stuffed until 6 p.m. That's it. As long as I don't eat any carbs. If I eat a piece of toast or something like that, which I rarely ever do, but if I do, then I'm hungry again in 20 minutes. And that's a whole other video about opioid peptides, but we'll get into that.
Full amino acid complex you need. So again, that would be the second one that we just kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah. So this guy's kind of pulling back from saying, yeah, it's dog shit. It's a fucking stupid diet. Don't do it. What's the point? What is the point?
Okay, Alex, if you want to come on in this way. So this is our fitness suite that we have on campus.
So Matthew, you're a specialist in endurance
Sweet,
sports.
Jim.
How does a vegan or vegetarian diet impact on performance in those sports?
But as long as you can find alternatives to provide those nutrients, then there's no real kind of detrimental impact.
What's the point, though?
There's very little evidence saying it's more beneficial. So it's not like suddenly switching to...
There is zero evidence suggesting that a vegan diet is more beneficial. There is absolutely zero evidence saying it's more beneficial, okay? There's been no long-term studies that are real. Same with the carnivore diet. Absolutely the same, I'll be honest with the same. The nutrition, you know, what are you going to do? Lock 2 people in, kidnap 200 people, put 100 people in one island, and the other 100 people in one island, one can only have meat, one can only have vegetables? How are you going to test that? People lie on surveys, you know, people eat shit they shouldn't eat, people have different levels of stress. How the fuck are you going to measure it? It's not like mice where you can really control everything, okay? And my studies are, you know, my study would be an idea of some sort of epidemiology. So, for example, if you looked, you know, you tested like a cure for cancer on mice, and you tested it out and it looked like it might work, or it worked on some of them, you know, people will write an article and say, cure for cancer found. But it's not proof because it's not on humans, and it's epidemiology. It's like, we should look in this direction. You would find it hard to find someone that would say that that's actual science. Very, very loosely done. Okay, let's finish this off.
To a vegetarian or vegan diet will improve performance, But if that's what someone wants to do for ethical reasons or
Sorry, let's just go
environmental
back, catch
reasons,
that.
just saying it's more beneficial. So it's not like suddenly switching to a vegetarian or vegan diet will improve performance.
It can actually improve performance temporarily, and the reason for that is because for athletes, because you will be in a fasting state, so your human growth hormone will spike. You can even put on a little bit of muscle because you're fasting. You'll be in autophagy, ketosis, you'll feel better, you'll sleep better. But then again, what were you eating before? Were you fasting before? Like, you know, all these, it's like they just zoom in, they got this whole strip of information, they zoom in on one and go, you know, this is so like amazing. Like Kendrick Ferris, the guy from Game Changers, lifted the heaviest weight, I think, of his career a couple of months after going vegan. So good on him, that's absolutely fantastic. But now he's ruined. He's injured, he can't work anymore, and he lifted the lowest weight he's ever lifted a year after going vegan. I do recommend going vegan for a short period of time, but if your diet's shit, then try eating mostly meat first. Just give it a go. Speak to your doctor first, obviously, but you know, I mean, common sense, guys. We're human because we eat meat. Cholesterol, our cells are made of cholesterol, all right? Bone marrow, we need bone marrow. That's where our white blood cells are born. We need all this shit, okay? Otherwise, you're going to shrink. You're going to have a problem, okay? And you're going to get tinnitus. That's why we're here.
But if that's what someone wants to do for ethical reasons or environmental reasons, then...
None of which have we spoken about will be benefited from you going vegan. Because vegans get their information from YouTube influencers, who get their information from other YouTube influencers, who get their information from fucking Cowspiracy. I know, right? I know.
Then it's not really going to have much of a detrimental impact as long as they can source those nutrients from that diet.
That's not correct. I don't believe that at all. So that's it. That's the end of this video. So once again, the reason I made this video about Hench Herbivore is because there are lots of people who get tinnitus from vegans. And in my opinion, it's just a really, really poor choice to actually be a vegan if you have tinnitus for long term. You might actually find, you know what, I'm eating so much crap and I just don't feel like eating all that meat. Absolutely, go try veganism for a couple of days, see how you feel. But if you have problems digesting or eating meat, you could have gallstone problems, and gallstones are made from oxalates. You cannot have gallstones without oxalates there. Gallstones come out green, okay? You're getting shit from plants going in there, especially spinach, nuts, seeds, what I was talking about with the antioxidants. Hench Herbivore was talking about the antioxidants. That's oxalates, okay? You're going to have problems. You can have polyradiculopathy. So that's polyradiculoneuropathy, which is a inflammation of the nerve stem, which can be caused by a pooling of oxalic acid, oxalates, which can cause sensorial problems, sudden sensorial hearing loss. So if you have hearing loss, you could have a problem with polyradiculoneuropathy. Go speak to your ENT about that. See if they even know what it means, okay? Radiculopathy is different. It's a pinched nerve in your neck, but polyradiculoneuropathy is normally caused by inflammation for a multitude of things, but mostly pooling of oxalic acid, so oxalic crystals, which is when oxalate bonds with calcium and causes insoluble crystals. Anyway, that's the end of this video. That was my sort of explanation as to why you shouldn't listen to Hench Herbivore if you have tinnitus. Just don't do it, okay? Fix your diet going mostly meat first. Even if you have a crappy diet right now, eat meat and vegetables. That's fine. Go for it. But just cut out the bad food, the alcohol, the smoking, the tea, the coffee, the rice, the carbohydrates. Just minimize the carbohydrates. Anyway, if you want more information, click below this video, download my free ebook, and talk soon.